2, 1.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the January Town of Port Royal Council meeting. Our first item of business today is our Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody can please stand, face the flag, and I will lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
United States
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mayor Pro Tem, can you lead us in invocation?
Father, we thank you for this opportunity as we assemble before you to conduct this year's business, this being our first official business meeting of 2023. We thank you for the agenda. We thank you for those, our constituents in whom we serve. And we thank you for the business that will be conducted this year that will be in the best interest of those whom we serve. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Welcome everybody who's online and welcome everybody in the room. Next item of business is we have 3 sets of meeting minutes. Minutes from our public hearing of December 14th, our regular council meeting on December 14th, and our special council meeting on December 21. The minutes were in our packet. What's the pleasure of council?
I make a motion we approve the public hearing December 14th, 2022, and the regular council meeting December 14th, 2022, and the special council meeting of December 21st, 2022.
We have a motion. Do we have a
A
second?
second.
We have a second from Jerry. By the way, if you hear a voice and you don't see a face, Councilman Ashmore is online. Thank you for joining us, Jerry.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Anybody have any corrections or deletions or additions? I was fine with them. We're all good? All in favor? Signify by saying aye.
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 It's unanimous. Our next item of business, Dan, is a presentation from the auditor.
Yes, we have Lisa Wexler here this evening. Yes,
Lisa.
want to give us a presentation?
Okay, all right. Good evening and Happy New Year, everyone. I'm Lisa Wexler with Crowley Wexler and Associates, and we conducted the audit of the financial statements. And this one does say draft, but I'm assuming that was the latest and the greatest. Yeah, okay. All right, so page 1 there, you have our independent auditors report, which basically says that we have issued an unmodified opinion on the financial statements, which is a clean opinion on the financial statements. The basis for our opinion there is we conducted our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards in the U.S. And the governmental auditing standards is issued by the Comptroller General of the United States. Our responsibility is to take the information that's provided to us from management and apply our audit procedures to determine that we have a information sufficient to provide a basis for our opinions. Responsibility of management, they're responsible for the information contained in the financial statements and for the fair presentation of the financial statements. On the second page, you'll see required supplemental information of reference to that required under accounting principles, accounting standards is the presentation of management's discussion and analysis and budgetary comparison schedule and historical information on your pension contributions and liabilities. They're presented in the financial statements referenced on those pages. Then we also have supplementary information included in there, which is some combining individual and non-major financial funds of the town. And then also there is a report in there on the state fines, the collections, and the disbursement of the fines. And then the last item in there is our report under government auditing standards that we have provided negative assurance that the financial statements, the town has complied with internal controls of financial reporting and certain laws and provisions and grant agreements. On page, let's see, 6, I think it's on 6, you have a condensed statement of net position. So the statement of net position combines all of your funds into one. And it also captures all your long-term assets and your liabilities on that financial statement. So Here you're showing total assets of 16,135,000. You have deferred outflows of resources of 935. You have total liabilities of 8,994,000. Deferred inflows of resources of 809,000, and that nets to the town's net position of 7,267,000 at the end of June. And that includes, like I said, all of your funds combined into one, and it captures all your long-term asset and liabilities. On page 7, you'll see a condensed financial statement. So you can see on the financial statement here that the town's net position went up from 6,145,000 to 7,267,000, which is an increase of 1,121,000. And that increase that you see there, I attribute to basically two things. There was a reimbursement for the Porter Chapel from the accommodations tax funds from Beaufort County this year. Most of that work, or pretty much all of that work, was done the previous year, so that was additional income into the town. And then also the standardization of your business license rates also contributed to about $670,000. So that's a little over $900,000, those two items alone. On page 9, you have your capital asset comparative information. So at the end of June 30th, 2022, you have $6,649,000 in net capital assets compared to $6,710,000 in the previous year. That was an increase of about $575,000 in assets and depreciation of $636,000. Now, if you guys are familiar with GASB 87 leases, okay, what we used to call operating leases are now captured in your capital assets and your long-term liabilities, because you have an obligation to pay that lease. So it'll stay on there for the length of that lease. So the old terminology for leases now picks up operating leases under the new standards. So that's why you see the restatement there for the previous year. We went back and picked that up at the beginning of the year. On page 10, this is a comparison of your long-term obligations. At the end of this year, $4,720,000 compared to $5,348,000. All of your lease payments were paid as scheduled. There was no new debt incurred except for this recognition of these operating leases. You're now doing enterprise leasing for your vehicle, your fleet's there, so that kind of comes and goes depending on the needs of the town. The pension liability, don't get used to this, but it actually went down last year. I expect that'll go back up. That might just be a reflection of what happened in the workforce with a lot of people leaving the system. Okay, so that covers the statements on pages 11 and 12, the statements of net position and the statement of activities. Page 13 gets into your governmental funds. This is the old fund accounting. At the end of June, your general fund balance was $4,049,000. You have a capital projects fund of $20 remaining in that fund as unassigned. And other governmental funds, this is the aggregate of all your other non-major funds, shows a balance of $1,020,000 at the end of the year. So total fund balances of $5,069,000. Page 14 is that reconciliation back to the statement of net position. And then on page 15, you have your governmental funds financial statement. So column 1 is your general operating fund. It went up $1,178,000. Capital projects funds went up $10. And your aggregate non-major funds went up $2,654 for a total increase of $1,181,000. And that reconciliation to the statement of net position and the statement of activities is shown on page 16. One statement is showing $1,181,000, one $1,121,000, very close actually. The notes to the financial statements can provide the readers with more detailed information on the account balances and the accounting policies, but I want to point out to you the required supplemental information for the budgetary comparisons on page 38. This is just the general fund, general operating fund. The budget of $7,103,000 for the general fund when actual revenues were $8,672,000. I think that in my mind, the increase in the tax revenue is attributable to the growth within the town. Assessment is up over 13%, almost 14% in assessed valuation of the town. The fines, fees, and licenses, we discussed that. That was the increase in the business license, the standardization of the rates. Intergovernmental, a little bit of grants received in there was the difference. And the miscellaneous, that includes the ARPA, the $635,000 includes the ARPA funds and the Porter Chapel funds in there. And then total expenses is $7,603,000 compared to $7,993,000 over budget of $389,000, and included in there, you had ARPA expenses of $260,000. So you also, ARPA revenue. So you had ARPA expenses that were associated with that. Some of that, the big difference I think there in the executive is some contracts for legal and engineering was included there. And the legislative, because I know you're dying to know since you're the legislative people, right? So there was a contribution included there for Fort Frederick of $50,000 included in that total. And then there was the transfer in of $500, and you transferred in, so that was a zero variance. But bottom line there, the total actual revenues exceeded the expenditures of $1,178,000 in the general fund. And then you have the other required supplemental information is the pension plan on page 39, which shows you your liability and the changes over the years, over a 10-year period in that, and the contributions, the amount the town is paying in on page 40. And then supplementary information. Here is your other funds, the non-major funds we were talking about. So in your stormwater fund at the end of the year, $466,937. The local hospitality had $280,252. The local accommodations $60,038, and the state accommodations $126,174, and the housing rehab funds $56,937. The last one there, TIF, that's restricted is $326,300, and the shrimp dock is sort of accumulating some costs there. That revenue has now dried up, but a little bit came in last year. But for the most part, that's really being funded by the general fund. And at some point, it's going to have to be absorbed into the general fund to zero that out because there's no other revenue source at this point. And then the next page, 42, is your income statements associated with those funds. So your stormwater fund had a change of $125,000. The hospitality went up $116,000. $34,000 out of the local accommodations tax, and the state went up $29,000. The housing rehab was pretty much dormant, not a lot of activity there. The TIF funds went down 128,000. Again, that's because of the revenue stream there. And the shrimp dock, I'm sorry, the TIF funds went down because there was a payment out to the school.
School board.
Mm-hmm. And then the shrimp dock 174, that's the money being used on closure of the shrimp docks. So overall, $2,654 is the change in your non-major funds. Okay, and then the next item is your schedule of your court fines. So this is what's being collected by the town, what's remitted to the state, and what the town maintains after all of that's been paid out, and a portion of which goes to victims' assistance, which is the bottom half of that screen there. And then the last letter is just the compliance, stating that we have conducted the audit in accordance with government auditing standards. And there are no areas that we are reporting as findings or internal control issues there. So, okay?
Okay, questions?
Thorough as usual.
Yep,
Okay?
Thank you.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for doing the line item like y'all do.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jerry, you good?
All right,
I'm good, Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I mean, Jerry usually asks it. Overall, how are we looking?
looking pretty.
There you
good.
go, Kevin. Thank you.
I was waiting on you to ask
I
this.
teed it up for you, Jerry.
Break it
I know you like to
down,
ask that
layman's
question.
I know.
And you still have, you know, ARPA funds to do a lot of projects around town, so yes, I think things are looking fine.
The fund balance
Yeah.
is still 51%?
Still positive, in fact, it went from, you're only at a complete unrestricted of 145,000 deficit with the pension liability in there, so, yeah, that's pretty good.
Cool.
All
Thank you.
right,
Mhm.
thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, have a good evening.
Band council briefing, you got anything we need to update council since last week?
I don't think so. I think we're good. I can answer any questions you might have.
Anybody have any questions on any of the items we went over last week that you thought about?
No questions.
No, sir.
I think the only one, Van, is we had the meeting on Thursday with Safe Harbor, and you updated on Wednesday night. Was there anything that you want to add?
I don't believe so. I think there was some positive movement towards kind of master planning of the entire property. We had some opportunities to discuss some options relative to the Bluff neighborhood. Don't want to get into too many specifics just yet.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for them to kind of solidify, and then we'll obviously make those
There was,
available.
I think there was some sort of a hint that the master plan would be public. Maybe that one could be public. We never heard back from them.
Right. No, not yet.
We need to push that to see if we can't
Exactly.
post what they're showing as
Right.
the next version of the master plan in that aspect. That's the only thing I had. Okay. I'll open it up now to public comment for anybody that has any comments on any of the agenda items for tonight. I didn't get any paperwork, but, oh, we're good? Then we'll move on to second reading. Go ahead, Van.
Well, I don't, I know that, I probably want to back up just a minute.
Go ahead.
Obviously, we did include the second reading of the tree ordinance. And I know we've been working on the requests and the recommendations that we received from y'all last week. Staff asked that y'all give us a little bit more time to refine what we got back from council and from the public. And I know Noah's doing a little bit more homework on some of the definition sections, as well as some of that section regarding measuring and the whole 9 yards. So I just wanted to give y'all that update.
Great. So the anticipation is it'll be next month.
Correct.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Very good. Thanks for the update. So we've got second reading of ordinance 2022-23. Go ahead, Van, if you want to.
Yeah, an ordinance authorized the park swap as contemplated by a development agreement for the Port of Port Royal, originally dated February 14, 2013, as amended on August 9, 2017, and July 14, 2021, and to further authorize the acceptance by deed of the park swap property from Safe Harbor Marina Port Royal LLC and other matters related thereto. We've had an ongoing discussion as to this property swap. limited it to the property adjacent to Sands Beach Road, which would be conveyed to the town, and then in exchange for that, Safe Harbor would receive, and I'm looking for, I wanted to pull this map up, but I think I just shut everything down. Yeah.
You want a copy of the map?
Yeah, if we can just, can we throw it up on the document handler real quick? Yeah, I'll do that. Just so everybody has a visual.
Is that the, okay, that's probably not my.
How's that look for everybody? It's good. Okay. That just gives you a little bit better of understanding of what we're talking about, not sure why it's blinking in and out. And I don't like that it's crooked either, that's correct.
OCD.
It's kind of counter. Good enough. Everybody got a level. So what you see in green is what would be conveyed to the town, and what you're seeing in the red is a rough approximation of the property that would be available to Safe Harbor Marina to use for the development of the property. And that is the limited scope of the exchange. We do have the attorney here representing Safe Harbor, just to make sure that we behave correctly this evening. So if you have any questions for David, I'm sure he'd be happy to answer.
It's about time, isn't it?
I'm happy to answer any questions. I will point out that I did speak to your attorney, Lawrence Flynn, today. There will be some minor technical
Tweaks.
revisions and some descriptors because of what we found with the plats. Doesn't affect the red and the green, it's just how we describe it, and the ordinance gives that authority to the mayor and the administrator to work through.
Okay.
Very good. Any questions from council?
Just glad it's happening.
Right, so what's the pleasure of council on ordinance 2022-23 to authorize the park swap?
I make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2022-23.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Next item is a resolution. Resolution 1-23, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Port Royal, South Carolina, to encourage South Carolina Assembly to adopt Bill H. 3620, Clement C. Pinckney Hate and Crime Act. I'm going to ask Mayor Pro Tem to read this resolution into the record.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure and honor for me to actually read this resolution. And it's disheartening, and I preference this by saying it's disheartening to find that South Carolina is one of two states in this union that does not have a hate crime bill. And I take pride and honor in reading this because Senator Pinckney was a personal friend of mine as well. The resolution reads, whereas according to the Federal Bureau of Investigation in 2019, hate crimes across the United States hit a 16-year high, and less than half of hate crimes are reported to police. And whereas South Carolina is one of only 2 states in the United States that does not have any laws on hate crimes, and whereas H. 3620 is currently being considered by the House Judiciary Committee, and whereas H. 3620 provides penalties for persons convicted of a crime with the intent to assault, intimidate, or threaten a person because of his race, religion, color, sex, age, national origin, sexual orientation, or homelessness. And whereas Town Council desires to promote the safe and quiet enjoyment of all residents and visitors, and whereas in order to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens and visitors of the town of Port Royal, Town Council desires to authorize the mayor to express to the South Carolina General Assembly the town of Port Royal's support for H. 3620, Clementa C. Pinckney Hate Crime Act. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the town of Port Royal Town Council that the Town Council of the town of Port Royal hereby authorizes the mayor to express support for H. 3620, Clementa C. Pinckney Hate Crime Act. Resolution 1-2023. And this resolution shall be effective immediately upon adoption, signed, sealed, and delivered when signed. as of today.
Thank you for reading that into the record. What's the pleasure of council? Man, that document, I'll sign that one.
I make a motion that we adopt resolution 1-23, please.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Pretty proud of the fact that that is our first resolution of the year also for 2023 will be this resolution. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Jerry, was that an aye? I didn't hear it, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Good.
That was an aye, sir. I apologize.
No, it's okay. It's unanimous. Thank you. Next item of business is council actions. We have the approval of the gym equipment for the Naval Heritage Park. Man, you wanna,
Yeah, just real quickly, I didn't have any, it was modified agenda, so I don't have the attachment in my agenda explanation, so it's the actual dollar amount. Where's the supporting document? No, let's try this.
I have it.
What do you want, this?
We've got the exhibit, but not the dollar amount.
For the gym,
Yeah,
I've got what,
Come on up. No.
Park
Park and Rec Commission, come and tell us that, tell us.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of Town Council. How are you all doing this evening? So the grand total from outdoor fit exercises is $62,540, and that I forget the exact total, but I'm pretty sure that's under budget for what we got the grant for. We will come out of pocket a little bit for the concrete slab that it'll have to go on, but the bulk of this project is being funded by the grant that Dan applied for us.
Okay, so you just need a motion to approve?
And if you look at the screen, Mr. Mayor, you were asking about an overlay. That blue square is the footprint.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's not huge at all.
That's what we wanted to see, exactly where it was gonna be, and,
well, that's an approximation of location, we just wanted you to get a sense of scale.
yep, that's good. That's good. So we need a motion from council to approve the gym equipment for the Naval Heritage Park in the amount of about $62,540.
Is it gonna have the Port Royal seal on it?
I would love to put the Port Royal seal on there if y'all want it.
Should be.
I think so.
And then we gotta pick a color?
I don't know.
Okay.
We have to pick, you're picking a color, or we have to pick the color?
If you give me the power to do so, I will pick the color and do it in good
It's gonna
taste.
be in the green and blue palette.
It's gonna be in the green and blue
Yeah.
palette? There you go. That's what we
it.
need.
I'm not doing red or black or
No,
anything.
no bright yellow,
No, sir.
no.
Hunter
Orange?
orange, maybe.
Like orange?
No.
Okay, so what's the pleasure of council?
I make a motion that we approve the gym equipment for Naval Heritage Park.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll
I
second.
second that,
We
Kevin.
have a second. Any further discussion? The only thing I want to add is thank you for the diligence to get us to this point. It was a concept that came out, and now concept going to reality.
Yes, sir.
And we appreciate that, and we appreciate everything your commission has done. On that note, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. It's unanimous.
Aye.
Thank you. Sorry, Jerry. Still unanimous.
Thank you, and I'll pass that on to the commission as well. And I also want to thank you all for signing off on the ordinance to limit the holes that are being dug out at the sands. It was getting out of control.
No, I appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because what's the status on our signs?
We've approved the final draft of the sign, they're being produced now.
Because I spoke with a gentleman down there today, digging, and he said, well, it's not 4 feet, and I don't see any signs yet.
They're in production. Okay.
There are no signs for, don't murder somebody either, but you're.
Exactly.
Still doing it.
Common sense.
Yeah.
And I just want to mention while John was up here as well, we put out a scope of work for the improvements at the Casablanca Park based upon the list that you provided, and we've cut loose D's improvements to handle those. A couple of fence replacements and fixing all the benches and everything else in there. And they did take up that upper section of the.
Yeah, I saw
backside.
that yesterday.
Okay, cool.
Very good.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Great.
Thank you. The next council action is we need a motion to move our council meeting from February 8th to Thursday, February 9th, so that we all can attend the Municipal
Hometown legislature.
Association and hometown legislation event on the 8th.
So move.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 It's unanimous.
Same time?
Same time, 6:30, yes, same time. We'll get a meeting notice out.
I think I already got one.
Maybe so. Van, you want to cover important dates?
Yeah, Monday, January 16th, 2023, is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Our offices will be closed. Tuesday, January 17th, at 4:30 PM is the Redevelopment Commission. Tuesday, January 17th at 6 PM is the joint meeting between the City of Beaufort and the Town of Port Royal, and that's being hosted by the city at their City Hall.
Remind everybody, I will not be able to attend that. I'm sorry, make my apologies, Mayor Pro Tem, but I'm sure you covered.
Which one?
The joint council.
Joint council meeting next week.
Dinner.
Since
I'll be
last,
there too.
very good. Since last Wednesday when we spoke, I was able to rearrange my schedule, and I will be at the Municipal Association event all 3 nights. All 3
good.
days, yes. I was able to change schedules around and get it, so I'll see you Monday night, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Any council comments at this point in time before I open it up to public comments? Anything anybody would like to add?
No,
Happy-
sir.
Happy New Year. Hope everything's
Yeah.
going well for everybody so far.
It was getting nice and warm. We're getting a little cold weather in this weekend. Everybody be prepared. Not as bad as last time, but it'll be good. I think the year is starting out very good, but I'm concerned a lot of, seems like everybody's speeding again through town. Please remember, be very careful. You know, I use this mantra to the police department. If you're on our downtown streets in residential neighborhood, I'm fine with ticket for 2. So what I mean is, in a residential, if you're driving by somebody's home and you're going more than 2 miles over the speed limit, don't be surprised if the police pull you over, because I use that kind of mantra. That's residential neighborhoods, that's in front of people's houses, but remember, they say speed limit, not approximate speed. Let's be careful out there, let's keep it safe. There was a small child today in Georgia who ran out to get the school bus, who had not yet gotten to the stop, and the child was hit by a car and passed away. So remember, the kids are out there, school's back and running, back up and going.
All schools
You
on.
see a school bus, don't think the kids are gonna not run. So let's be real cautious out there and be careful with that. So that's my only comment on that. It's a sad story. I'll open it up now to public comment. Anybody have anything they'd like to address council with that's not on the agenda? Please come forward.
Good to see you back, Mr.
Mr.
Smalls.
Smalls, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Mr. Smalls was my daddy. Samuel is my name.
Samuel? It's good to see you, Samuel.
I was always taught respect.
That's Samuel, Mary Beth, that's.
I know, but
So I'm able,
No, right there for.
Right there, please
New York
go.
State
Samuel Smalls, yes, sir.
Social media.
good evening. Thank you all for having me. Do appreciate being here. I came down here for 2 items. But as I turned on Paris Avenue, and you notice I got my glasses on, so I see even worse with it on. But then I found myself, once I passed Parker's, I'm like, where's the middle of the road? You can't see it because the marking has been, somewhat worn out. I think, could you all kind of like get the regular, more illuminated lens so I can see, show to somebody else. As you go, you can see it. You can't see it. You have to guess where the middle of the road is. First item that I really wanted to talk about, and I think the chairman of the rec committee stated that you have some improvements to John Parker Park. You remember 8 months ago or so, I came down asking about could we do something with those equipment. When I was on the Park and Recreation Commission, with our budget, the first thing we did was Naval Heritage and put the boat out there, and and so the kids can have something. And then the second thing with our budget, we did John Parker Park with the pavilion, made everything the same as with Oaks, with the everything to match it. And so there's a lot of attendance out there on that park, kids, and so that little toddler area, it needs updating. there's only one swing in operation. And then a citizen installed the horseshoe section. That's it. That's it. And I wanted to ask for an update because I went to the maintenance director and told him that someone told me that a tree fell on the roof of the pavilion. And I asked Jeff, I said, Jeff, can you look at that, please? The limbs from that tree over here actually rubbing on the roof. So that's going to wear out that roof real quickly. It's metal roof, but it's going to wear it out quicker than in the life expectancy, I should say. Most importantly, though, I wanted to ask you all, can someone tell me, with help building its building on Reboat, and when I learned of the stormwater runoff pit, where is that going to be?
Actually, it was installed today, Samuel. You go look, you see it.
I saw it.
They moved it to the left from where it originally was. Am I right now? I don't know how far they moved that, but they moved it left, so it's not directly in front of.
Yes. So it was more elongated on the original plans. It was kind of squeezed into a smaller space, so that it would not be in front of Ms. Shirley's, as far in front of Ms. Shirley's home. The property lines, as they have always existed,
No.
and the way that the home sits currently,
No,
it
that's
appears
not-
as if it's in front going into her property, but if you can see kind of the triangle.
I'm gonna pull it up so you can see it.
The property line is in dispute as far as I'm concerned. I do have, and I'm not an official on anything, and I don't know. But I do know that I have 2 living witnesses that says that the original owner donated that driveway that help came in there and quickly destroyed. And the whole Casablanca community can attest, beyond my little 70 years, that it was being used to enter into there. South Carolina got some kind of law, which I don't want to get into, but that road was public access. He donated the property, but he didn't write it. That's the rear of his property. The previous owners left that road there. Now, HELP comes in, and HELP conveniently comes up with a survey, and there again, it's none of my profession to say, oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna put a pit there, a storm runoff drain. You should know, I spoke with the mayor when I first learned of that pit. And I said, and he's here, I said, Mayor, that's horrible. You're gonna put that pit right there, and it hasn't moved that much. Had you built it any closer, you probably would have violated some foundation of the Morgan's property or something. That is horrible, yeah. And so the mayor says, I told the mayor, I said, Mayor, let me tell you something. Historically, a black community in these United States have always been desecrated by construction municipalities. We put a interstate in through a black neighborhood and destroy it. I said, that is horrible for a pit to be there. And I said, Mayor, I have served on your council, and I do know that HELP with the drain, with the sewer system running 10 foot away from where that pit is, could have tapped into the pit. And you, Mayor, you got irate, didn't you? Oh, no, Sammy, no, that isn't the case now.
Well, I did not get irate. I
No,
said
I'm just-
it had nothing to do with the black community
Yeah,
or
yeah,
white
yeah,
community. I said that it is a stormwater regulation. I asked you to let me talk to the town and see what was going on. I addressed the town. They heard the same story. They went back, they looked at it, they worked with the engineers to move the stormwater retention bond that all commercial activity now has to have, to move that over so it's not in front of the house. The property dispute, we can't talk about.
Yeah, we ain't
We're
talking
not
about
building
that.
this
Yeah,
facility.
yeah.
We don't own this facility. All we can do is issue the permits, but we did work with them to move it over, to get it not directly in front of the trailer and move it to the left. I cannot talk about the property issues.
Yeah,
We don't know
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
You say they're in dispute. We don't know that for a fact. We don't know any of that aspect. Their driveway has not been cut off. Help us make sure I ask that as well. They have a new driveway, they have a new access point to get to their property, which is what's required. You can't block one without giving them a substitute. It can be moved on a piece of property when you're traveling across, and that's what they've done, Samuel.
And so, to continue the conversation, I said, based on my experience, and with that public sewer system running parallel with it, it would be feasible for help to tap into that.
One
And
is
what you
storm
said-
sewer, one is sanitary sewer. The two
Yeah.
shall never mix. Okay? That's the reality. What you're talking about is a deep sanitary sewer system. This is surface stormwater sewer. Those two cannot mix.
Well, what I'm saying is when I was working on another neighbor in that community, my sons and I were fixing up his property, and you weren't the mayor then, but Van was still the town manager. And Van told me, said, you remember, Van, you said that housing development right off the road, you said, and his pond was overflowing to the point where it was under his house. You said you were gonna instruct those constructors, those contractors, I should say, to open up the piping system. That's half a block away.
That's Jenkins.
That's half a block away. But your reply to me was, it could be a little more expensive for help. Y'all do know that your first line of business is to look after the residents. Do what's right for the residents.
What I said is there is alternative designs that could be done that are more expensive than an open pond.
That is
That-
atrocious. That stormwater, soon as you turn off of Reboat onto Casablanca, that big old pond is right there in our neighborhood. That is ridiculous. That's ugly. Had it been somewhere else in this neighborhood, I bet you it would have been tapped into the system. That is ugly. And y'all didn't look out for us on that one. That's bad. That's bad. And all of you are responsible, Jerry. All of you are responsible.
I'm sitting here listening to you, Sammy.
All of you all are responsible. So I'm telling you now, I don't like that. And I would ask you to get that straight. And if you can't get that straight, please don't stop by my house on this new election coming up. Mr. Phillips, you stopped by on Sunday morning when I was getting ready to go to church. You won't be welcome this time. That's bad. I don't like that. That's ugly. Thank you for hearing me.
Sorry you feel that way. Anybody else have any comments? Pamela?
I have a question.
1 second. You're next. Sorry, I didn't see you. Go ahead. No, it's all right. Either one. Whoever wants to go first.
I only have one question. When you all were talking about speed limits, I think I talked about this before, I'm not sure, about putting up a speed limit sign on Wardell Road.
Waddell's a state road. We can't do
Oh,
that
you
one.
can't do
We can only
We can
ask, and
request
trust
it.
me.
Yeah, you can ask them.
We've asked for
Yeah.
Waddell Road, we've asked for crosswalks. Sidewalks, and we keep just getting
That's,
denied.
Racetrack. Once they turn the curve by that mark,
Mhm.
they figure that they can put the pedal to the metal to get down to the end.
Van, did we send that
Well, we
letter
can patrol it.
to the state?
We'll patrol
We can patrol it.
You know, how they come on to Castle Lincoln there, because when they have a wreck right there at the light or whatever, they redirect that traffic. And we had talked about, and somebody had the information where we could write the state and see about getting a speed bump down by Miss Shirley's.
Yeah, we're
Shirley
looking into
Hayward's
those, but
house.
we're also looking into, we've got the state coming down to look at several intersections because of the ongoing accidents.
Okay, yeah, I just wanna make sure we don't forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
the
for her.
school bus, that's one of the school bus stops.
And I think they have a sign there somewhere.
Robinson and,
Yeah.
Right. Waddell.
Casablanca.
Yeah,
We wish it was easier to get stop signs, speed limit changes, and that kind of stuff with the state, but it's
They
about
don't
what
listen.
people can.
I guess outright.
This morning at Coffee and Conversation, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I mentioned this, so the mayor's sort of aware of this. March 9th, it will be the 149th anniversary of the town of Port Royal. And so we're going to kick this off at Historic Port Royal Foundation, and we're going to be having the unveiling of a new exhibit that we're working on, and that will be on that same day. And it will be Port Royal history from 1870 to 1900. Parts of it's interactive. It's totally new. We've been working on this for quite some time. And so we want to invite the members of town council to come be a part of this. It'll be at 5:30, March the 9th. And so it will kind of be the precursor of the going towards the 150th. Thank you.
Add that to the calendar, please. Anybody else? If not, our next item of business is an executive session. What's the pleasure of council? I need a motion.
I move that we go into executive session to discuss legal advice on contractual matters for the port development.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to our regular session. Can I get a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you, Jerry. At this time, there is no actions from that executive session, and with nothing else, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you for who's still watching.